Hey, this is Matthew Ricks, and today on the Music Business Newsletter, we got a live one. An artist wants to know how their first single can go platinum in a year. But before we dive into this email, if you have a question on the music industry, just go to MatthewRicks.com, click submit your question, give me as many details as possible, and we'll answer it here on the channel. Now for the email. He says, Yo, Matthew. I've never had anybody say, Yo, Matthew. All right, you're the first. I'll get straight to it. I'm going to be very clear so there's no confusion about why I'm hitting you up. I just finished recording my first single this weekend. It's not a demo, not a for SoundCloud record, a real record. Studio session, top tier mix, master that rattles the car when you turn it up past a reasonable level. We're in the first line, y'all. We're in the first line of this email. The kind of song where people stop nodding and actually look at you when it plays as you're driving by. So you're bumping your song in the car. Okay? And do people usually nod when you're in the car? If they can hear the song outside the car? Because typically, either you got the windows rolled down and you're in like a convertible, or all you hear is the bass rattling from the trunk. But I guess you have seen people just at a stoplight just nodding along to your music, but now they're actually looking at you when the song plays. Huh. That's a first. He says, I already know after I've studied you because I study all my opponents. Oh, am I an opponent? Are you okay? Did I have a rap career? You have a YouTube channel? You've been in A&R? Okay. I'm an opponent, apparently. He goes, I know what you're going to say next, so let's skip the ceremony. What ceremony are you? Okay. He says, I'm not asking if it can go platinum. I'm asking what needs to happen so it does go platinum within a year. Within 365 days. Well, okay, if I'm an opponent and we're going to skip the ceremony, which I don't even know what that means. But if I'm an opponent, you want my help on how to get your single to go platinum in 12 months. Your first song. The song that you're playing in your car and people are looking at you. And you think that's good. I will say this. For a new artist, going platinum in a year it's not impossible because nothing's impossible. It's a steep hill to climb, though. He says, I'm based in New York City and I'm fully prepared to move if that's what it takes. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm planning next month to get in my car, drive to radio stations in New York City, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. Walk into the building and demand the DJ listen to my song right there in the office because he's going to love it and then want to play it on the air right then and there. Okay, so this has got to be a New York thing. What was that artist's name? So 10 years ago, we would do these like music business conference calls. And, oh man, it was a female rapper out of New York. And so you'd be on this conference call. Sometimes there's hundreds of artists on this call. And you get in the queue and then John Clark would be like, we got next up, and then you'd have somebody. I want to say her name was like Destiny or something like that. And she was like, Yo, Matthew. I think she said Yo, Matthew as well. She was like, I'm going to storm the office at Warner Brothers and show them my music. Do you suggest doing that? And I said, you storm an office, you're going to spend the night in jail, just so you know. This guy now wants to drive into New York. I guess he's from New York City, but he's going to drive to New York City and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Connecticut and walk into the building and demand the DJ listen to his song right then and there in the office, because then he's going to play it on the air after he hears it. Okay, so there's a couple of problems with this idea. And I don't want you to get arrested in a Pennsylvania town. One, DJs aren't the ones who pick music. Okay, that happened 50 years ago. Music directors pick music to be played on the radio station. And you can't walk in and just demand. You demand anything, you're going to be demanded to leave. You have to hire a radio promoter. And for hip hop, they are not cheap. Like $100,000 to work a song. 2, most local radio stations, if you're going to Virginia or you're going to Pennsylvania, you're going to New Jersey, you're going to Connecticut, if they're part of like iHeartMedia, they don't pick their songs anyways. So you're going to have to hop in that car and probably, well, you're in New York City, you probably maybe in New York, or you're going to have to drive to LA and get physically removed from a radio station's office there. This is a terrible idea. This is a horrible idea. This might be one of the worst ideas I've heard all year. He says, I'm not even going to email the radio station. No submission portal. No waiting 6 months for a reply from an intern. If they tell me no, I'm going to ask them who says yes. I mean, what makes you think a radio station in Pittsburgh, you got, if you can get in the building, okay, because radio stations usually lock their doors because of stuff like this. But let's say you get in and you walk in and there's a receptionist there and you're like, I demand you listen to my song. What's she going to do? Or give me the DJ. Well, honestly, most of these radio stations, the DJ who's on the air right now, he's in California. And if they tell you no, you're going to ask for somebody who says yes. Dude, you will get arrested. You might get arrested in like small towns in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. This is a horrible idea. You don't want to wait 6 months. You don't want to pay for a radio promoter. You said portal. I don't know. No submission portal. I mean, that's how you play the game. It says, if they kick me out, I'll come back when the next shift starts. So, do you think radio stations are like McDonald's? Where it's like, you know what? That guy's not going to give me my french fries without the salt on. So I'm going to wait till he leaves and I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the guy who will make me fries without salt. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work this way in radio. Like, you can't go at noon and want to talk to the DJ at noon and they tell you to piss off, because that's what they're going to tell you to do if there's a DJ there. And you can't come back at 6 o'clock. One, the office would be closed already. And now you got some DJ who's going to call the cops because there's some fool holding a CD and a boombox banging on the window of the radio station or waiting by somebody's car. This is a horrible idea. This email just keeps getting worse. Coming back when the next shift. Yeah, I mean, like, do you think a radio DJ is going to risk his career playing your song? Because I bet you don't have a radio edit. So you're probably like dropping F-bombs all up in it and you want some DJ to play it right then and there in Pennsylvania. He says, that's the level I'm on and the motivation I have. Well, that's a pretty stupid level and your motivation sucks. And now we drop bars in the email because why not? I've never had anybody send me an email and they drop some bars. They drop some lines in their song, but hey, we're going to storm radio stations and we're going to wait for shift change like it's a factory. So he says there's a line in the second verse that pretty much sums up how I see my entire career with this single. He says, they're still arguing streams while I'm counting plaques in advance. It's a terrible line, by the way. They're still arguing streams while I'm counting plaques in advance. So you can count you can go to bed every night instead of counting sheep. You can count plaques. Doesn't mean you're going to get any. He goes, that's not my bravado. That's my intent. Ooh. He says, here's where I'm at structurally. No label, no manager, no agent, no rollout plan yet. Okay. Yeah, because, gosh, I'm exhausted just reading. I can't, dude, you probably exhaust everybody in your life with this. Or you have a bunch of people who are like, yeah, go to the Harrisburg hip hop station and storm it. No label, no manager, no agent, no rollout plan. No, you have no plan. Your plan is to get arrested. That is your plan. So yeah, I'm not shocked for that. He says, but also I'm not broke. Parentheses, count the zeros. He says, I'm not afraid of spending money if it actually creates pressure. Well, then hire a reputable radio promoter who can run a campaign. It's going to cost you $100,000. He says, I'm not emotionally attached to doing it the right way, but am to my way. Dude, I feel like you just keep dropping bars in here to me. Like, that's what I feel like. He says, I'm not interested in slow growth or slow validation. I've watched too many artists hide behind patience when what they really lacked was urgency and intensity. More artists need to go and storm radio stations or record labels. This is so reckless. And here's the problem. You're putting way too much pressure on yourself. And what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to really get a lot of streams and go platinum because you're going to spend a lot of nights in jail because you refuse to leave a radio station. And then let's say your song got to 100,000 streams this year, your first single. You wouldn't be happy with it. I don't know why we have to do it in 1 year. Why can't we do it in 18 months or 2 years? Like, why? I mean, slow and steady does win the race, because this is what happens when you go 90-0. You burn out like this guy, because if you're in competition with this guy, don't worry. He's going to flame out or be arrested, and you don't have to worry about him. He says, I have no desire to be organic. I'm trying to be unavoidable. Oh, you're going to be unavoidable when you're standing by somebody's car with a boombox. He says, I see mediocre records blow up every day because they understood optics, timing, repetition, and narrative. No, that's not true at all. Mediocre records blow up because there is a machine behind them pushing them. Record label, management. They hired a radio promoter, and timing is important. You don't care about timing. He says, meanwhile, better songs die quietly because the artist waited for permission instead of forcing attention. No, better songs die because, one, they're probably really difficult. Good songs, bad songs, slow songs, fast songs, rap songs, metal songs, some rise to the top, some die. It's just how it goes. He says, I refuse to be the latter, waiting for permission instead of forcing attention. You're going to annoy a lot of people, and you're going to get a reputation, and it's not going to be what you're looking for, and it's not going to be good. But you'll get that street cred you're looking for, by police. He says, here's what I want from you. Straight answers, no industry fairy tales or hype talk. What actually pushes a record towards platinum now? Playlist, TikTok, radio, all of it at once? Playlists don't. Unless you get on like Release Radar or something like that by Spotify. TikTok helps. Radio would help, but you're not going to make it on radio. You're just not going to. Not as an independent artist. Your song would have to be, you're going to go, it is. For an independent rap artist to make it on iHeart, it's got to be something no one's ever heard before. And that's people who don't know you. It's not your mom or your girl. How do you get some platinum? It's not going to happen in 12 months. Not if you're going at it alone. It's not going to happen. There's no way. He says, how much money does it really take to create legitimate early momentum if the record connects? if you're going to try to go to radio in hip hop, it's $100,000. And that's going through hiring a legit radio promoter, getting it serviced, them doing a campaign. It's going to be $100,000. That's why it's, but here's the thing is that radio for hip hop, I think it's like 2 songs a month, 2 new songs they add a month. So you have to rise above Drake and Kendrick and, you know, all these other, the heavy hitters. Kanye, when he puts out something before he self-implodes again. So it's just, it's not worth it. I would devote your time instead of driving to radio stations. I would go hustle in downtown New York City. I'd go to Times Square and let people listen to your music, record them, get their opinions. Now you're going to have some people tell you suck. You can't like throat punch them or anything. Okay. You just got to let it go. I would try everything you can to get, cause you know, New York City, you got a lot of tourists who they'd be kind of cool with the whole New York experience with some guy putting headphones on them and filming them, listening to their music. And honestly, like you could have a lot of fun with something like that because I'd find like the elderly couple and try to find like the coolest old guy who just like vibing out to your music. That'd be kind of a funny video, but you won't do anything like that. You're going to go and wait for a shift change at the radio station like it's a factory, which just shows right there. You don't even know what you're talking. You don't even know the industry lingo, but you want to go platinum. Going platinum on a single, because platinum is 1 million sales. I think, and what is it, 100 to 1? So you got to do 100 million streams in a year. So what? What are we looking at? 2.8 million streams a day you have to do to go platinum in a year? He says, at what point does the industry start chasing instead of watching? I feel like I answer this question. There's always a different avenue to get to this point. At what point does the record label start coming after you? When you're making noise, when you've had something go viral, when you're selling out shows. But if word gets around that you're getting arrested at radio stations throughout the East Coast, you're going to not have a lot of record labels that are going to be interested, not valid ones. He says, why haven't record labels noticed me yet? I have over 570,000 subscribers on Instagram. So he put this in the email. We went and did some deep diving. He's got 570,000, 570,000, whatever. He's got over 500,000 followers on Instagram. And his last post had 7 likes. So where do you think he got all those followers at? Just saying. And his Instagram is just like this email. Just let me tell you how great I am. Every one of them is him in the studio, dropping a bar or two. It's getting 7 likes with over 500,000 followers. So he does have money to blow because he's buying followers. He said, do teams come before the heat or do they appear once the numbers scare people? A good manager is going to find you when you're starting out and see your potential. But most industry people are lazy these days and they will appear once the numbers are there. It's just the way it goes. But a good manager is going to find you when it's nothing because they'll get a better deal. When I was in A&R, I didn't want to get into a bidding war with another label because the price goes up and that gets into my year-end budget and that goes against my bonus. What I wanted was an artist who would get a fair deal, but the deal wouldn't be just like, you know, completely exaggerated because there was a competing label, which happened. Now, when I was an A&R for one of the majors, I got into a bidding war with an artist I didn't even want. But I knew that this other label did badly. I just drove the price up so it screwed their budget for the year. I didn't like that guy anyways. Like, don't do that, but I did it. It's a risky move because they could back out and then you're like, oh crap, I got this artist I don't want and we're going to pay them a lot of money. He says, what separates records that explode in 6 months from ones that stall at this could have been big? I mean, that's for hip hop, that could be a lot of things. Hip hop is a word of mouth. Hip hop is getting in rotation on Spotify. And what I mean by that is when somebody's playing a song and then it goes to Spotify radio or the playlist is over and then they start adding songs. It's about getting shout outs from people. It's about word of mouth. That is hip hop 101, because you don't do a lot of shows in hip hop. So it really is online with people flexing and talking about you. You don't want to become like a Tekashi 6ix9ine where he got most of his attention for beefing with people. He got a lot of attention. He got a lot of views, but it was just people just dogging him. And you don't want to be like that. You can't be Kanye and just be like, oh, I'm going to be the crazy guy, because that's already reserved for ye. It really is about just getting people talking about you, because hip hop loves to flex. Yeah, I mean, you know this, like you're a hip hop artist. Hip hop loves to flex about how great they are, but they also love when people talk about how great they are. So get other people to talk about your song. That's not going to get you platinum in 1 year though. But I'd go to Times Square. I'd have a phone rolling. I'd be showing people your music, getting their thoughts. You can, of course you'll tell them you're the next big thing. You're going to get people who would take picture with you, have them tag you, do an invite collab on Instagram. It does make your profile seem bigger. Ones that stall out is when they're relying on a record label and the record label doesn't give any money, or the record label pulls their money. Or the whole plan was, let's go to radio and we got no other plan, or we're going to put you on tour and you're going to sell some music and stream some music from those tour dates. And then that doesn't happen. And they have no ground game. You being in New York City have a massive ground game where people from all over the world can listen to your music and then take it back and show their friends or talk about it. Or look, I met this crazy dude on Times Square as an artist. You got to check this guy out. QR codes. Get business cards with QR codes. It's got, and let it go to Linktree or whatever, and have it have Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music on there. And when people listen to your music and they're like, oh, I like it, give them a QR code. And then they get a picture with them. And then, hey, you don't seem like you're shy. So just be like, hey, post me on your Instagram and tag me. There's my tag right there. I'll share it on my page. And then make sure you share it on your page. All right. And don't just share the hotties. All right. You got to share everybody. He says, I'm not delusional. I think you are. He says, I know platinum doesn't come from confidence alone. It comes from systems, pressure, and repetition lining up at the same time. No, it's true. Well, I don't know about the pressure. It comes from the system. You got to have something in place. You can't just throw a single out there. I can't tell you how many artists probably just like, okay, I'm going to put my single to release on Friday. And then Friday comes and they're watching the Spotify artist and they see like there's 2 plays. And then it dies out and they go to 0. And they get just completely disheartened because they're like, well, I thought it would be bigger. Well, what was your plan? You posted it on Instagram and that was it? He says, what I'm trying to understand, now remember, I'm his opponent. He said that earlier on, is which levers actually move the needle, not which ones artists pretend matter. TikTok, I mean, here's the thing. I think you bought your followers on Instagram because you do have over 500,000 and you have your first single coming, which, by the way, would an artist explain to me why they go and, I mean, we're talking probably $10,000, $20,000 to spend on 500,000 followers on Instagram. Do you think that people are not going to think that that's weird that you got 500,000 followers and nobody's ever heard of you, but then also that you're getting 7 likes on a post and you don't have any music out and nobody's talking about you? Like you can't fake viral. Like you can't. And you are. But which levers actually move the needle? I'm telling you, go to Times Square, get a camera in people's face, show them the music, get the pictures, have them post it, have them invite collab you, give them a card so they can follow up with you, get on TikTok. Don't be beefing with people. Get on TikTok, all of this stuff. If you're dead set on radio, find some college radio guys, send your song there, but I don't think you need radio. I would direct everybody to Spotify, Apple Music. You're not going to go platinum in a year, but if you do this, because you're not going to play shows because you rap, but if you do those few things, you should see the needle moving a little bit. He goes, I'm not here to learn the business slowly. Well, you're gonna have to. He goes, I'm here to set a standard immediately. My guy, you want to go to radio stations and wait for the shift change. And you bought your followers on Instagram. Okay. Your standard is reckless and not smart. That is the standard that you have shown the entire world. He said, if you had one record, 1 year, New York City as your base, a willingness to knock on the doors that don't want to open, and zero interest in playing it small, what would you do that most artists are too polite to even consider? What I would do, if I was you, if you had one record and you're making this 1 year, I don't know why you're so focused on 1 year. I said this earlier. I don't know why. Like, are we getting married in a year and you got to make money, or she's not going to marry you? But if you are in New York City, I would spend every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights, not at the club, not at the bar, not at home. I would spend it in Times Square. That's what I would do. I'd be posting the interactions. If somebody tells you your music sucks when you're standing in person, kind of make it funny, make it kind of a moment, post it on TikTok, because you will have people who like your music. You will have people who will think that that person who said your music sucks isn't being fair, and they'll come to your defense on Instagram or TikTok. That's what I would do. You're not going to get to platinum in 1 year, but you are going to see the movement happening. You are given the gift because you're in New York City. So you know where everybody's at every weekend. The tourists, the people who will go back to Arizona, to Korea, to Canada, to Nashville, and they'll talk about you if you do it right. Now, what I am afraid of is that your confidence is so manufactured that if somebody tells you, I think your song sucks, you're going to punch them in the throat or something. And don't do that. He goes, tell the artists you work with, I'll see them on the charts. They'll be shaking in their boots. Anyways, that's what I would do if I was you, or if any other artist that lives in New York City. I think instead of, yeah, you want to play shows. More rap artists need to play more shows, but I'd be living in Times Square, just being another person. You're not trying to sell them anything. I'd be another person just trying to be out there getting content if I was you. But thanks for the email and the laugh. And good luck, and let us know next year if you reached your goals. If you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com. Give me as many details as possible. If you're delusional, include that as well. You can be like my guy here, and we'll answer it here on the channel. I am Matthew Ricks, and until next time, I will talk to you later.